warning: this non-politically correct show is made by men for men, while the hosts of this show strive to keep things clean. Occasional strong language and some topics might not be suited for all age groups. Parental discretion is advised.
Tonight's message is not brought to you in part by L'Oreal Cosmetics. They just wouldn't take the deal. Thank you for tuning in to thumosRadio. Let's get this show started with another edition of Like It or Strike It News. This is the part of the show where I read news headlines from around the globe. I ask the guys here in the studio if they like it and want to hear more about it, or strike it, move on to the next one. If the guys do not like, or if they strike all of the titles that I have read to them, I get to choose between the titles that we have today. So let's get started with the first headline that we have here. You guys are going to get a kick out of this one. A drug dealer mistakenly sends officer text messages. Like it or strike it. You may respond.
Like it.
Like it? Like it? Let's go. Police say a drug dealer mistakenly sent text messages to a California Central Coast police officer in an attempt to sell methamphetamines. The Santa Maria officer notified Santa Barbara County Sheriff's detectives about the errant text messages early Tuesday. The officer and detectives then set up a meeting with the alleged drug dealer. Sheriff spokesman Drew Sugars, oh, that's a cute name, Sugars, says that they arrested 39-year-old Raimundo Carlos Escobedo and seized about 2 grams of methamphetamines. A news release says 37-year-old John Martin Silvers, boy, they got all sorts of cool names down there, who is Escobedo's suspected methamphetamine supplier, also arrived and was arrested with about 7 grams of methamphetamine. Escobedo and Silvera, not Silvers, sorry, I forgot my spectaculars tonight. Silvera remain held on drug charges, including criminal conspiracy. Bail is set at $30,000 each. What are your thoughts on that?
I want to know what the opening sales pitch was. What was that opening text?
I'm kind of curious about that, too.
Was it just a number screw-up? That's another thing, too.
It looks like it because, it's not like...
Did he have what...
He just mistakenly sent messages to California Central Coast police officer.
Wow.
I mean...
Makes you wonder
did he have his number on speed dial, or he held down one number too long and it dialed the cop's number? I mean, what do you...
It's got to be a miskeying of the phone number he was trying to send the text to, and it happened
just
to be...
one number off. It just happened to be
the officer.
One number off.
Now, it kind of makes you wonder if he broke the cardinal rule and was using his own supply when he was trying to sell it, and kind of hit the wrong buttons on his phone and rolled with it.
Maybe.
I can see the story, too. A cop gave him a hand at some point and said, hey, if you ever want to clean up, man, here's my card. I'll help you out. When instead, he pulled out the wrong card when he was getting high off his own stuff. I got to call my buddy.
Or you call your PO,
Silvera.
Your parole officer, instead of your buyer. By mistake.
Well, that guy's got some pretty bad luck, though. I mean, you got to say that. Just to have that happen to you, I mean, yeah.
I heard another story that was kind of like this. This isn't a headline that I have here, but I heard a story about this guy that worked in telecommunications. He was working in telecommunications down the street from a federal building, okay? And apparently, he was crossing wires or checking connections or something like... I don't know what those guys do. They was flashing gang signs at a box somewhere. And he struck a wire or something, flipped the box off the right way, and it connected with a phone call where 2 people were discussing how to get into the federal building. They were discussing how to rob this place.
All right.
Somehow he got a phone number or something, or patched the call into the police because he's a telecommunications guy. And they caught the people, and everyone was saved, and it was an amazing story. Everyone lived happily ever after. I don't know if that's actually true. I just know that
It's possible.
I heard that from somebody. I suppose it's possible, but really, I imagine there's some guy out there just trying to be like, this is how cool telecommunications is. You can't beat me.
Or maybe he's angling for a raise with his boss. You know, I might be that guy. You want to pay me enough to be alert while I'm doing that work.
As far as you know, the United States was saved because of me.
Exactly.
Let's move on to the next headline, okay? You guys are going to get a kick out of this one. Police hold diamond swallower until evidence moves.
I did.
Like it.
Like it.
Love
Okay. All right, let's go. Police in the Canadian province of Ontario say that they are holding a man who is accused of swallowing a $20,000 diamond as long as it takes for him to produce the evidence. It has been nearly a week since Richard Mackenzie Matthews, 52, is alleged to have switched a diamond at Precision Jewelers and swallowed the real one. Matthews has been held at police headquarters while they wait for the 1.7 carat stone to pass through his system. Sergeant Brett Corey said Thursday that Matthews has gone to the washroom numerous times, but the diamond hasn't passed. Corey says a recent x-ray showed a pair of fake diamonds, or cubic zirconium, stuck in the man's intestines. But because a diamond is translucent, it isn't visible. He says the suspect is eager to get the ordeal over with and is cooperating. In the early stages, Corey says Matthews was being given laxative-type foods, but is now being fed whatever he wants in an effort to get things moving. Matthews is charged with theft and breach of court conditions, and is also wanted on warrants in Toronto.
I've heard of plugged up, but that's pretty good.
All I can
A
think of is
$20,000 turd.
yeah. All I can think of is whose job is it to sift through the evidence?
Hey, new guy.
Oh man.
Get in there, rookie. They stop
That
at the
would be
local vet
rough.
for those shoulder gloves.
I think you need a whole suit for that one.
Someone TO'd their
Oh,
superior,
man.
and you
I
got
just-
to draw duty.
Just put a strainer over the, this toilet. It goes down.
You still got to sort through
borrow
it.
the kitchen colander.
Oh,
The rock's not that big. You're gonna have to go through it in fine detail.
And guys are on duty every single day while that diamond's in his gut.
Can you imagine?
How do you go home to your wife or girlfriend with that? What'd you do today?
What was your day like?
I sifted through
Waiting
this.
for a guy to go poo.
But- on,
SSDD.
on the flip side, though, in a way, I kind of feel sorry for the suspect in this case because they know for sure he has at least 2 good-sized fake diamonds sitting in his system, plus possibly the real one. When they do finally pass through the system, that is gonna suck.
Yep.
What if it's not actually in there?
How long can they hold him?
Well,
They never find it. I mean, they're gonna sit on him for 2 or 3
Well, it
years.
says right here it's translucent.
Of course, it is a Canadian jail. I guess it's
With X-rays, I
Club
guess
Fed
it's rendered
times 2.
invisible, so they wouldn't know the difference. The real one. I mean, they basically have to look for a gap somewhere where there's just nothing, and then they're like, there it is.
I guess.
I don't know. But anyway, that's all we have for Like It or Strike It news this week. Thank you for listening to us. Join us again next week as we read more headlines from around the globe, tickling your earlobes. Like It or Strike It news.
Last week we were talking about feminism and men's rights movements, and then Kevin had just this great question he wanted to toss out there when we had to wrap up the segment. So what was that, Kevin?
Well, a lot of guys these days in the men's right movements and men's going their own way groups, these guys are talking about how women are trying to take power away from men. And what the question I'm posing to you guys is, how is that happening? How are the feminists, because we all know that not all women are actually bad. And the men's right movements actually have a term for that, NOWALT. Not all women are like that. Did you guys know that?
No, I haven't
I've
heard that
never
one
heard
before.
They call that a poor excuse, that not all women are like that. I happen to know for a fact that not all women are like that because I didn't marry a feminist type of girl. I married a strong-willed woman, which I happen to adore. I like that power in a woman. I think it's fun, and I want to keep that going. But, this is me having an ADD moment, so just follow along with this. Why is the term, or the phrase, not all women are like that, a bad thing? Why do you suppose that would just get their short hairs up so bad?
Well, I guess the flip side of the coin is if not all women are like that, then some are. And maybe
They're
I'm one of them,
basically
and they don't
saying-
want to admit that.
Yeah, they're basically saying that all women are like that. Every last one, no matter what. It's in the genes or something. No, I wouldn't necessarily say that they're telling us it's in the genes. What they're telling us is that because of society doing what it is, in the world, but mostly here in America, all women are like that. They're this demanding, whining, you treat me like a princess, you pay for everything, but, let's be equal at the same time. Basically them saying they want equal rights. They just don't want to have to pay for half of the meal.
Yeah, I'm constantly hearing that too, and I gotta say the fact is it's getting harder and harder to find women who aren't like that. It's sad, but it's true. They are constantly just asking for they ask, and not much give when it comes to that kind of thing.
It's hard to find a girl who isn't expecting you to pay the bill, you to get the door, those kinds of things.
Yeah. I mean, I don't
You
mind
to pick her up.
Yeah, I don't mind doing that, but yet it's trying to find a girl who doesn't expect that every second, or trying to find one who wants to allow you to be in a position of, not authority I want to say, but another word for it I don't know.
Are they using this, the feminists? Not, I want to call them regular women, but apparently there's a very small percentage of women that are, likable, according to this group. I don't blame these guys for having these groups and having this movement, because there's a lot of frustration going on out there. There's a lot of guys that are basically saying we got screwed over because of how these girls were raised up. They are the most demanding creatures on the face of the planet. They are actively seeking out foreign women to become their wives because they think that American women are absolute trash. They're angry, and I'm not kidding you.
Oh, I'm sure.
You
I'm sure.
go on YouTube and you check out any video that has to do with the men's rights movement. It's either a guy that's really, really upset at women, or it's a woman that's really, really upset at guys. So what kind of ways are feminists using? I'm talking pretty much mostly about the extreme feminists, feminazis. What are they doing to take power away from men?
One thing I've noticed is they're removing, I'm going to say, some of our God-given things God gave us in instructions that he gave us, because in the Bible it says that men are supposed to be the teachers in the church, and that women aren't necessarily supposed to teach. And I was reading this the other night, but there are more and more women that are being ordained as pastors, and they're taking those roles instead of...
Yeah.
And I'm...
I know what you're saying, dude.
Yeah.
But let's go the Christian path. Let's go there, okay? Let's talk about where Paul is talking about women submit to your husbands as is fitting to the Lord. How do you handle that situation when you're talking to a feminist?
I don't know.
You know exactly what you should say when you're in that situation. The women that it's talking about in that situation are women who have gone through the courtship. They have gone through all of that stuff, and they have made a decision to be married to a man who believes in this.
Yeah.
Believes in a wife being submissive and a man sacrificing all that he is for his wife.
Yeah.
And what they don't pay attention to is that the verse that concentrates on women in the Bible is like 1/2 of an inch thick. I mean, it's a very small paragraph. Look at the part of the chapter that concentrates on men. It's a lot bigger. It's at least twice as large. There was a pastor on YouTube that I saw, and I have to do all of this research because I'm the guy that introduces the topics. So I'm on YouTube and I'm looking at all this stuff. There was a pastor who had said a lot of Christian guys out there will say, well, she's not the girl for me because she's not being submissive. And his response to the boy was, well, who told you that she has to be submissive? Well, the Bible does. God does. No, the Bible says if she's married to you, it's fitting for her to be submissive to you. But before that, you better put a ring on her finger before you expect her to be submissive.
I'm not saying that they should all be submissive at my feet or something, but...
No, but you can use that against them.
Yeah.
I'm here to arm you, my young Padawan.
Thank you.
This is one of the things that a feminist will invariably come at you with and say, oh, you have Christian beliefs.